In this short video, we are going to talk about why I named that bank 001 and talk about how to keep your item banks organized so that when we create our quiz, it'll be an easier process. So the reason that I put the 001 at the beginning is so that I can keep the item banks in the order that I want them to be in. If I don't put the number at the front, it's going to default to alphabetical order. And I like things from the beginning of the year to the end of the year. So that's why I put a number. The reason that I put 001 on it is because if I just did 1, 2, 3, 4, you can see it's starting to happen here. It's going to go, when I get to 11, it'll start going, it'll go 1, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 2. So by putting the 0, it's really just a placeholder to encourage the order that I want. So that's the only reason that I put the number on at the top. Sometimes what I do, and you can see it in some of my others, so you can see that these are sort of in chronological order of my year. Let's see if I've got some other ones in here. That you will see that sometimes I put a point at the end of it. Yeah, so you can see right here, like if I have a big unit like the Civil War, sometimes I'll put 14.1, 14.2, 14.3. So these secondary numbers are organizing within the first number. So that is total preference. You do not have to do it, but I find that it makes it super easy to find things once I've created a lot of question banks. So this might not be an issue the first quarter or even the first year that you use item banks, but the more item banks you use, you need to think about how you're going to find them. So this is my preference. You can't always search them up here. You just have to remember what you named them. So there's no folder system. I know lots of people like folders. There's no folder system for item banks. So I've sort of gone around the system and created folder systems by numbering. That's what my numbers do. Okay. The other thing that I want to point out is you want to see, I have found that it is most helpful to keep types of questions together within a question bank. So what does that mean? So you will see right here that I have in my American Revolution, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 different banks that I have associated with my American Revolution unit. So they all have a number 5, all right? But then they have, and they all say American Revolution, but at the end, it tells me what kind of questions are in there. And that matters to me when I make my assessment. So in the next video, when we talk about making our assessment with our item banks, the type of question that I have is going to matter, or I have found that it matters. So for example, if I want this American Revolution, so this is about map and it's a fill in the blank. So if I click on that, all the questions are going to be the same type of questions. So you'll see that these are fill in the blank, and you'll notice that each fill in the blank has 2 different options, right? I don't have one that has 3 and one that has 2 and one that has 1 because of the way that making the quiz is going to work out when I use item banks. So if I go into my American Revolution about the hotspot, so this is DOI's Declaration of Independence hotspot, all the questions in here are going to be the same. So it's going to be asking them to click on the text from the Declaration of Independence, but the end thing is different. So some kids are going to be looking for a concept of social contract, some are going to be looking for popular sovereignty, and different ones are going to be looking for natural rights. So each student is going to have one of these, but which one, I don't know which one they're going to get because the computer's going to figure that out. But if I had some multiple choice in here and some map identification and all that different things, and then I use that that item bank, some students might have to be clicking on a Declaration of Independence. Some people might be labeling a map. Some people might be answering a multiple choice question, which you might be fine with, and that's totally fine to mix them up. If you don't keep them by topic, I would definitely make sure you keep them by point value. So like this is going to be 1 point. The other one that I had was worth 2 points. So I don't want to have questions in a bank, some that are 1 point and some that are 3 points and some that are 5 points or 10 points. I want to keep them together because if you don't do that, your scoring is going to get all out of whack on your assessment. So a few things to keep in mind here. I highly encourage the numbering system, all right, just because it helps keep things in order. If you don't like it, don't do it. The other thing that I encourage is keeping types of questions together, or at least keeping point value questions together. So if you might have an item bank that is colonies 1 point questions, colonies 2 point questions. That's fine to do it that way as well. You need to think about assessment design when you are creating your item banks, and the next video will help you, I think, understand that a little bit more. So this is really just about how I number and organize, and then sort of how I keep things together. And then the next video, our last video, I'm going to show you how we put the assessment together and why this organization matters.